Good afternoon. Wow, has it been a pretty crazy weekend of news? Luckily, it was a pretty relaxing weekend here. It was pretty calm compared to the prior couple of weeks. Wow, I'm trying to think. Today's monologue, no matter what, will go up. I'm going to start getting these knocked out. I was wanting to go back and do them and release them in chronological order, but that's not going to happen. So, because there's just too much to be able to cover. So, I'm just going to start with it. It's Monday. I'm going to start with it, run with it, and if I can catch up the other stuff, I know Jen has a rant that I really need to get up. So I'm not so much worried about my monologues as I am her rant. So I will put this video up tonight after the show. I'll get Jen's rant up that she did probably a couple weeks ago, I guess. I will get it up as soon as possible. Man, and it looks like I might be taking on even more work. So I will find time somehow, some way, even if I have to create more hours in a day. But it is what it is. I have to, I have to take opportunities if I can to make an income. And so an opportunity may be coming my way, as far as I know it's going to be coming my way, to do a little bit more web work, and that's perfect. So this would be something that would be more regular than anything that I've been doing so far, other than the news, of course. But don't get paid doing this for the most part. I mean, just whatever donations and stuff from time to time. But that's it. I mean, so certainly it'd be nice to have somewhat of a steady, or at least a steadier income coming in, and that'd make it real nice, real nice. We are so far behind on where I want to be as far as our preps, and that's going to be a large focus of mine. So, and it has been a large focus of mine. Still waiting to get payment for the decals that I had done, and I had been banging my head up against a wall left and right, trying to decide which direction that I want to go next when it comes to those preps, because we have a few things that are first and foremost, and a second trailer, like a cargo trailer for the bikes, is one thing. I would really like to be able to get, and it looks like I'm probably going to lean this direction. I would really like to be able to get a relatively decent crossbow for obvious reasons. And when I say relatively decent, it's a cheap one, but it's one that looks a little better than a lot of the other cheap ones I see. So that is what it is. But that's probably the direction that we will go. My Legacy Foods food bucket, or I should say our Legacy Foods food bucket, came in Saturday, and it has a lid that you can. There's a little like strap thing that you can unpeel around it and pop the lid off. Well, I didn't want to do that, so I cheated and stuck a couple screwdrivers up in it and popped the lid off, because I didn't want to break that other seal. And that way I could just take a look into it. And I know Evil says he wants to come up some weekend and see what it's got in it. So I wanted to be able to pop the lid off and look into it. I was absolutely shocked at how big the bucket was. Now this is the 60 serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner bucket. And I was shocked at the size of the bucket. I mean, it's like a 5-gallon bucket. It's a regular size bucket, and it's pretty packed. It's pretty packed. Absolutely shocked at the amount that's in it. So that's absolutely incredible. So we've got that news going on. Like I said, it looks like I'll be taking on some more web work, which will be a little bit of a steady income coming in, which should be good. I just want to get prepped, and there's a clear reason why. Things are not backing off. Things are still escalating in every direction, whether we're talking about Syria, whether we're talking about here in the United States. Nothing is getting better, and I'm consistently saying that for a reason. It is really escalating, and at a rate that is alarming. And so that's why I am focused on tying up these loose ends. And I think I'm on a decent path as far as mentally, as far as, you know, prioritizing our preps, so to speak, because, you know, I want to be able to be prepared to bug out if we have to, for whatever reason. That is not the initial plan. I would like to bug in, but I'm not going to put all my eggs in the bug in basket. I would like to be able to put some eggs in the bug out basket, and that's one of the things that we had been working towards. So that's where the cargo trailer comes in. We got a trailer for Blue. It's rated for 100 pounds, or yeah, it's rated for 100 pounds. She's probably getting somewhere around 70 or 70-ish, and so therefore, plus she pretty much takes up the entire inside. You know, if I put anything in there, she wouldn't be able to move. So I wouldn't have much weight on that. I had told you that I was going to, and kind of redoing bags for bugging out, and I have done that. And not totally, but I'm in the process of it. And our electronics bag alone is freaking heavy. I bet that thing is every bit of 35 pounds, just that one bag. Now, mind you, it's got a ton of 18650 batteries in it, power inverter, solar charge controller. You know, it's got a ton of stuff in it, and more stuff to go in it yet. I haven't gotten everything in it yet. So nonetheless, what I'm getting at is just that one bag alone, if I could stuff it in there alongside of Blue, would be the absolute limit for the weight. And we've got other stuff, you know, so that's why I'm thinking. I found a cargo trailer that's rated at 180 pounds. I kid you not, 180 pounds for a bicycle. And it seems to be a pretty stout trailer. And so they're going for like 89 something, which isn't bad. The crossbow I found that I'm interested in is like 128. So, you know, it is what it is. You just, like Prepper Nurse 1 always says, you know, just one thing at a time. Well, what's the first one? S. One step. Thank you, babe. One step at a time, one thing at a time, one day at a time. And that's exactly the way we're approaching this. He is so accurate with that. And that's what we do. We just want to take it one step. We want to, you know, just move forward. I mean, if I could go out and buy everything that I've got in my little mind, I would, believe me, but I can't. So I just do it one at a time. And we've reached the point to where some of the items are just, they're going to be costly. So, or somewhat costly. Believe me, not costly. Hell, some of them crossbows are $600-800, and some of those trailers run up into several $100s. And I'm trying to do things as efficiently as I can, but at the same time, make sure that I get something that is dependable, something that I can rely on. So anyway, that's what's going on with that. I was talking about how things are being so much more escalated. They are in every single direction. A lot of stuff been going on. I know on Twitter, the first article that we're going to run across is going to be dealing with that officer involved shooting, the off-duty officer involved shooting down in Dallas, Texas, to where a 26-year-old man, a youth pastor, was shot and killed simply because she had the wrong apartment. Now, I know that there's, and it's going around like crazy, that that the two had dated or you know, known each other outside of this altercation, this incident. That is not true. I know it's going around. People are swearing by it and everything else. And that is simply not true. Even the family's attorney the young man's attorney, well, not his attorney, obviously, but his family's attorney, has come forward and said that that is absolutely not true. There was no prior type of relationship of any kind between the young man and the off-duty officers. So I want to make sure that I was clear on that. I do want to point out something else very interesting about that case that I don't know if it'd be in the article that I show you. I can't remember where I seen it, but somebody had came forward and talked about the apartment buildings themselves and showed a picture of his key. This person lives at that apartment complex, and it's just a key fob, like some of the newer cars have. This has a little, it had like a little cylindrical thing that I guess you actually stuck into the locking mechanism of the door. And much like a hotel where you swipe a key card, of course, if it's the correct key, the red light will turn green and you can open the door. Well, so apparently it's rumored that that her key was in the door when I guess the police got there, when they started investigating. So wherever that leads. The crazy thing is, she was charged with manslaughter. The first time that the prosecution came forward with manslaughter charges, the judge denied it. The judge wanted a murder charge. Now I don't know if it's that they put it forward a second time, and I don't know if it was the same judge or a different judge. If it was a different judge, wow! And I haven't been able to confirm or deny whether it was the same judge or not. But if it indeed was not the same judge, man, that is absolute bullshit. They're sitting there, you know, picking through them, finding one that will give them what they want. Okay, and people got a problem with protesting against this stuff. It makes no sense to me. Makes absolutely no sense to me. We've got to do something, and it starts with protest. It starts with protest because they already know that killing unarmed people, they already know the police brutality is a grievance. Okay, they already know that. How much more do people have to express before, somebody can say, oh, well, that's officially a grievance. So the next step is protest, okay? It's just what it is, I'm not even much for the protest game myself because it doesn't get squat done. Doesn't get nothing done, okay? I've said that all along. You can march to the streets, you can have the prettiest signs, you can chant all night long. Not a damn thing is going to come from it. That's just the way it is, okay? I support their right to do it because that's a First Amendment right. It goes beyond a First Amendment right. That's an unalienable right. So, in other words, to be against that would be to be against God, okay? And against God's will. Not going to happen with me. Not going to happen with me. So, again, it's even though I know it's pointless, like many others think it's pointless, it is. But it's a step. It's a step. And if somebody uses a platform, a platform to be able to voice themselves, I am definitely not going to hold that against them. It's awful funny that when Clint Eastwood used his platform to speak on Trump's behalf, the conservatives weren't crying then, were they? So, and where did that crying get? Let's talk about that a little bit. Where did that crying get? Where did the burning the shoes, throwing the fit, red snowflake tears flying everywhere, where did that get? Anybody know? Because I've seen on social media, I don't know how many times I've seen on social media about just how much money Nike has lost, and Nike's done now. They'll never sell another pair of shoes. Nike's done. It's over, right? I don't know how many times I've seen that. I don't know how many times I've laughed every time. And if you recall last week, okay, I was saying, how long did I say it would take before it would be forgotten and everything would be back to normal, right? How long did I say it would take? By today. I said by today, everything would be back to where it was. Well, lo and behold, look at that. Okay, and it's going to rise, it's going to fall a little bit. That's natural. That's called the stock market. But we're already at, right now, it's $82 even at the close of the day. Okay, and it actually had went up a little bit above where it was before that announcement was made. So where did that get anybody? Nowhere. And that's why I don't use emotion when it's time to use logic when thinking about something. Okay, it's pretty simple. But see, all that bitching, moaning, and crying, all that shoe burning, and all that got nowhere. Which reinforces what I said a while ago about protests. Same thing, gets you nowhere. Okay, it's got to go beyond this. However, we've got to stop the desire to want to silence other people because their views are different than our own. And Twitter's going to have something, or news that I had tweeted today is going to have something in the lines of that is important, which we probably need to get moving along here, because wow, do I have a bunch of stuff in the line of news. So let me grab a sip of coffee here. As I dribble it across the table to my mouth. Only professionals do that. Alright, let's see. So let me just run through the not financial information, right? 55 cent. We're looking at 55 cent on YouTube, which that won't go anywhere anyway until we get lifted from our suspension. Which, of course, speaking of that, we're still at 45.11. I believe tomorrow the YouTube fairies will visit. That'll change. I don't know how much it'll be. It might be 2 cents. It might be negative 2 cents. Who the hell knows? We'll find out tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow usually when it updates, and I'm thinking that it will update. I can't make any promises. I've never been suspended off of AdSense before. So, again, just as a reminder, as soon as the suspension is lifted, we will do a quick drive, a super chat drive to get our balance up over 100, and then we're going to cash out. We're going to close our Google AdSense account and completely demonetize the Watchman News on YouTube. So expect to see that. I'm going to do it live on air. I'm going to go through all the steps live on air, so nobody can say that we did not do it. Let's see. Okay, I don't think we got anything going on here on Steemit. Nope, but we are sitting at 7.560 Steem and 1.176 Steem dollars. Our estimated account value has hit probably the lowest it's been since we were on our way up, so to speak. And we're down to 52.67. I think it was 72 cents or something like that is what I seen Steem, the value of Steem earlier. Let's see. Oh, right now it's 76 cents at this time. So, yeah, Steem is hurting. And speaking of that, I didn't even go over there and take a peek when I had the Nike stocks up. Bitcoin actually it wound up closing just a little better than what it had been all day. But still, Bitcoin is only $6,300 a coin. You know, that's not good. Not for the crypto markets. So anyway, that's what's going on there. I'm going to start out like I often do with something that Angry American had posted earlier today, and you're going to see supporting news articles as I go through the news. He's right on the money once again, and I'm telling you, folks, it's time to get ready. I mean, you've got a war abroad that's brewing. You've got a war at home that's brewing. You've got news media that won't tell you the news. Okay, thankfully it's not us. But you've got an entire lineup of news, whether it be conservative sided or liberal sided, it doesn't matter. None of them are telling you what's important. And then you've got the censorship issue. Not only do you have major platforms like Google and Twitter and Facebook trying to silence people, but you've got people trying to silence people. You've got, society trying to silence each other. And it's insane. It's insane. Don't ever let anybody be an authoritarian over you. If and once you do that, you have no voice. None. Absolutely no voice. Don't ever let anybody try to silence you. It's insane. Absolutely insane. At the same time, don't let somebody abuse you with their bullshit either. Pretty simple. I'm not saying that you can't shut people out of your life. You most certainly can shut people out of your life. But to tell them that they can't have a viewpoint or they can't express a viewpoint, well, that's when it's time to shut people out of your life. So it is what it is. Okay, Angry American. This is what he had posted earlier. 4 hours is what it's saying now. As yet unconfirmed, and I'll repeat that, unconfirmed. But I'll tell you what, I've not seen him miss the mark yet. As yet unconfirmed reports coming out that China will join the DLive assault with Russia and Syria. This is a serious development if true. Trump recently stated the U.S. will have a permanent presence in Syria and recently landed an additional 1,000 Marines. Things are escalating rapidly. Of note, too, is the fact that Russian government-controlled media is advising people to stock up in case of nuclear conflict with the U.S. You hear that? So we've got Sweden that's already done this. I believe there's a couple other countries, and now Russia. Russia is even starting to tell their people, their citizens, to start getting ready. Folks, it's about ready to go down. Period. Everybody's moving their chess pieces into place. Okay, and it's been going on for some time. Now all we're waiting for is some event to happen, to spark it off. And I think it's been long suspected, or at least somewhat long suspected, that it's going to be a false flag chemical attack. And that's kind of what I'm waiting to see. Could be any number of things. Sorry, I had to have another sip of coffee here. So let's go on to Twitter. Now this is the article. I've already talked to you about it, so no need to really go into it. Amber Renee Geiger arrested for killing 26-year-old Bottom Shimjane. It might be John, I'm not sure. Anyway, insane. Yeah, her bail was set at $200,000, and it was already paid. She's already out. This is how it works. This is how it works. Folks, if that was any one of us, right, we'd be locked up tight. We would not see the light of day, not until we finished our sentence, and that's if we didn't get executed. But I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it for so many things, for so many reasons, from so many angles. I don't get why people don't get upset, or why people don't understand why other people would be upset at this stuff. And for those people that are upset at this stuff, I don't see why we're still sitting on our asses and just not doing a damn thing. Letting the same corrupt-ass piece of shit court systems deal with this in their way, with their investigations. It's bullshit. Absolute bullshit. We've got to do something, right? And I've long said it many, many times. You know, I think that there is a chance to do this nonviolently. Okay, but it's going to take people to quit their fucking snowflake crybaby bullshit and join together for something called humanity. You know, actually be united like a lot of people claim they want to be. A little harder to do than to say. But if we could do that, and if we could put 100,000 or more people around our state capitals, I guarantee you we would have results. Because these cocksuckers that are in our government today are there because it's a free ride, folks. It's a free ride. And you've got dumbasses that are worried about welfare. Look at the fucking welfare that these assholes are on. And the continued welfare they get after they retire. Nobody complains about that. It's insane. But I tell you what, you know why they have that free ride? And you know why they keep running for election and running for election? Because you're stupid fucking enough to vote for them. That's why. That's exactly why. As long as you're clueless enough to keep putting them back there, they're gonna fuck us in the ass every chance they get. Now that's just the raw truth. I can't help it. All I can do is tell you about it. Now whether you want to have your pipe dreams and go off and fucking blow smoke up people's ass, or whether you want to face the fucking reality that's staring us right in the eyes, it's up to you. Not me. I've got balls. I'm fucking telling you the truth. We need to do something about this. We need to stop relying on groups and organizations and bullshit symbology. We need to get off our asses and we need to do something. It gets old, folks. People are suffering. Lots of people are suffering. And I'm tired of witnessing it. Memphis shooting. At least 4 people reportedly injured after gunman opens fire inside nightclub. To finish my statement, if we surrounded these state capitals, okay, if we surrounded these courthouses, okay, I guarantee it wouldn't be fun for them anymore. When you've got 100,000 people standing outside your door telling you to get the fuck out, building a gallows, I think you're going to get the point. I think you're going to figure it out. Oh shit. Right? The same with these abusive cops. When their lives truly are living in fear, when they're truly scared, you're going to see half, if not more, of them quit. Right now, it's a bullshit excuse to attack the American people, to go to war with the American people. When these people are truly in fear, we the people will be respected once again. That's just a fact. But it's not going to happen. We're just going out to vote, or just waving a flag, or just writing letters to our congressmen, or expecting some organization to do it. We're in this mess because we got lazy and complacent and expect other people to fix our problems. That's what put us here. So continually doing that, expecting that it's going to change, is foolish at best. I'm tired of seeing people suffer. I'm tired of suffering, but this isn't about me. People want to wave that fucking flag and talk about how disgusted they are because somebody wants to kneel. They give 2 fucks about the homeless veterans. or about the piss-poor treatment the veterans get from the VA. Boy, let's wave that flag. Boy, let's be proud of that. Let's be proud that those that put everything on the line are getting shit on when they come back home. Let's be proud of that. Let's ignore the truth. Security breach at Lyon Airport. A car chase on runway. Flights grounded. Raging inferno. Huge gas explosion sparks Pennsylvania evacuations. Train derailment in South Dallas. At least 3 cars left tracks. U.S. not ruling out strikes on Russian and Iranian targets in Syria. See, that's important stuff. Some of this stuff we are going to go into because it's very relevant and very important. Let's see. Syria's northwestern Idlib province is the last remaining stronghold of militant and terror groups in the country. President Bashar Assad sees the liberation of Idlib as a topmost priority. The U.S. is mulling air and missile strikes on Syrian government forces if they use chlorine gas in their operation to liberate Idlib. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Right? They've got the terrorists by the balls. Why would they do that? That would be stupid. They don't need to do that. They've got Russia, they've got Iran, why do they need to resort to chemical weapons? It makes no sense. The entire narrative is just screwed from the beginning. The U.S. strikes could also target Russia and Iranian positions in the area, the Wall Street Journal wrote on Sunday. The article added that the Pentagon may be crafting military options, but President Trump hasn't decided yet what exactly would trigger a military response or whether the U.S. would target Russian or Iranian military forces aiding Assad in Syria. The Wall Street Journal added that Washington has not yet decided whether the use of chlorine gas could necessitate U.S. airstrikes on Assad forces. According to the publication, if Washington decides to strike, it would possibly be on a larger scale compared to the air and missile attacks it had previously launched in Syria. If it does, then it would have to decide whether to hit Russian air defense installations in a bid to inflict maximum damage on Assad's forces, the newspaper added. I'm not going to read the entire thing. We've got a lot of stuff to cover, but you get the point, right? And like I reported last week, they backed away from necessarily just saying chemical attack, and then they started saying basically anything. If you do anything to try to take out the rest of the terrorists that are holed up in Idlib, we will respond. Insane. Man. Coffee is good. All right, scissors-wielding man stabs postman, attacks passerby in Paris. Ban scissors. I mean, come on. Already banned knives, so now we need to ban scissors. Why don't we just ban pointy sticks, too, right? Nike's stock paces Dow gainers, erases losses since the Kaepernick ad launch. I think it's hilarious. Unjust court. Bolton vows to use any means to protect U.S. ally Israel from ICC. That's the International Criminal Court. So let me repeat that. Without the synonym, or not a synonym, acronym. I'll get the right name. Let's see. Unjust court. Bolton vows to use any means to protect U.S. ally from the International Criminal Court. Now, you've got Gavin Syme that was unjustly raked across the coals. Joshua Martinez that's unjustly raked across the coals. We know what happened with the Bundys. We know what happened with the Hammonds. Day in and day out, we are getting screwed by these unjust court systems, right? That we can't just get out of, right? We can't just say, oh, well, we're going to ignore you because you're unconstitutional, you're unjust. You know, look at Gavin. He left the country, right? Insane. But somehow it's okay for the United States government to say, you know what? We're going to ignore the international courts. If that ain't mighty hypocritical. Insane. Now we are going to read that. The U.S. has announced its decision not to cooperate with the International Criminal Court, vowing to protect itself and its friend and ally, Israel, from the judicial body. It also threatened sanctions against the unjust court. So now the United States is going to sanction the International Criminal Court. I mean, if these other countries don't band together and attack us, I don't know. You know? I mean, look at this. Look at this. This takes beyond balls. Announcing the move, U.S. National Secretary Advisor John Bolton on Monday warned the ICC against continuing its investigation into alleged war crimes committed by Americans in Afghanistan. You hear that? You hear that? They're not even supposed to investigate. What would happen to you if you told a cop to fuck off, not to investigate a possible crime you committed? What would happen there? Right? Do you think that would go over well? Do you think the cop would pat you on the back and say, well, that's just swell, golly gee. I'll see you later. You think that's how that would work out? Are these fuckers accountable to anyone aside from God? Because I damn well guarantee you they're accountable to God. If the International Court continues to pursue the probe, Washington will ban ICC judges from entering the country, prosecute them, and sanction their funds, the official said in a speech before the Federalist Society in Washington, D.C. You hear that? They'll ban the judges from coming to the country, and then they'll prosecute them because they want to prosecute war criminals. Hey, you can't make this shit up. You cannot make this up. We will ban ICC judges and prosecutors from entering the United States, sanction their funds in the United States financial system, and prosecute them in the United States criminal system, Bolton boomed. Yeah, I mean, we can prosecute them in our criminal court system for them trying to prosecute us justly in their criminal court system. All the citizens operating in the service of the government anywhere in the world are subjects to the American justice system only, Bolton said. Did you hear that? Did you hear what I just said? Let me repeat that. Tom, tell me how much you want to wave that fucking flag. All the U.S. citizens operating in the service of the government anywhere in the world are subjects to the American justice system only, Bolton said. On this earth, we don't recognize any authority higher than the U.S. Constitution. They don't even recognize the U.S. Constitution. And the Constitution in this country was founded on the principles of God. And he just pissed on that. Wave your fucking flag and be proud. Bolton also ripped into the court's threat to Washington's friend and ally Israel as he referred to the investigation into alleged crimes against Palestinians. By the way, I've got a video to show you in a little bit about that. It's mind-blowing. Little boy shot and killed by a sniper. Absolutely insane. The probe into actions of such a liberal democratic nation as Israel is unacceptable. So see, we're not even supposed to investigate Israel. They get a free pass on anything they want to do. Any country supporting the investigation and cooperating with the ICC will be subject to secondary sanctions, Bolton warned. You get this? Are you following this? This is why we've got to stop with the bullshit symbolism in this country. It's why we have to wake up to the reality. Because if you don't think this is going to wind up on your doorstep, you're a fucking idiot. How long will it take for these other countries to say no more? How many years now have we been killing scores of innocent citizens in other countries? Do you think they're going to have mercy on you? He promised to take notes of the countries cooperating with the ICC, warning that such behavior will affect their relations with the U.S. and might result in slashing the U.S. aid to such nations. He then vowed to undertake action in the UN to bar the ICC from prosecuting nationals of any countries that did not ratify the statute of an international body. Just ahead of Bolton's speech on the ICC, the U.S. announced its decision to shut down the Palestinian Liberation Organization's office in Washington. The move was condemned by the group as yet another affirmation of the U.S. policy to collectively punish the Palestinian people. Despite the U.S. pressure, Palestine vowed to continue its calls on the ICC to open its immediate investigation into Israeli crimes. In May, the Palestinian Foreign Ministry asked the ICC to launch an inquiry into Israeli crimes against humanity and its illegal settlement policies. The alleged crimes of the Israeli government include forcible transfer, demolition of Palestinian homes, and killing of peaceful protesters. I don't know of any time better than now to show this. And the sick, disgusting, twisted thing that some individuals would say is he threw a rock at them. Because he does. A little boy. I bet that rock didn't even make it a tenth of the distance that it would have taken. Some people will actually support what you just watched and say that was okay. This is the things we're not supposed to be investigating, folks. Well, not us, but the International Criminal Court is not supposed to be investigating this. And you could have action taken against you if you in any way aided the ICC in investigating things like this. 16-year-old boy. I don't get it. But I damn sure am not okay with it. Putin says Abe to hold presser. Putin and Abe, hold presser and ceremony for signing of joint documents. Trump prolongs trade embargo against Cuba for 1 more year. France vows 3.6 billion euro military satellite upgrade after accusing Russian orbiter of espionage. CIA builds new drone base in Niger. Lethal Libya mission may have been launched from it. Now, is that insane or what? Merkel reportedly weighing German involvement in Syria, coalition partners say. Oh, they say 9. No. Indian Army to replace 150,000 personnel with high-tech weapons. Seriously, they're like serious about this. They're going to cut back on troops and replace them with high-tech equipment. This is India doing this. Here we go. Twitter suspends Benghazi hero Peranto after spat over who killed Osama bin Laden. You know, and Twitter has the right to refuse service to anybody, and I'll respect that right. I don't have to like it. See, that's the difference. That's the difference between being a hypocrite and being a constitutionalist. I don't have to like it. That's not even in the equation. They've got the right. Period. Now, I can voice my opinion about it, but I can't prevent them from refusing that service. And I can't shut them down or shut them out. Aside from myself. That's all I can do. It is what it is. But this whole censorship thing is a slippery slope. And if you allow for one person to be censored, guess what? Then you have to allow for yourself to be censored. Britain hasn't stopped funding and directing groups in Syria, says Middle East expert. This, I thought I would tweet it out because wow. End of days, birth of red heifer in Israel signals coming of Messiah, claim Hebrew scholars. Now, I really don't know. I would have to dig into that. But obviously, they think it's something odd. Bolton promises much stronger response if chemical weapons used in Syria. See, they're just beating down this dead horse of chemical weapons. Trump receives positive letter from Kim Jong-un requesting new meeting. Which, by the way, I'm reading some books right now, a different set of books. There's a guy that came out with a book series. I'm failing to think of the author's name or the name of the series now. I apologize. But it was just written, this series, and it's got a lot of really up-to-date stuff. Even if it was written real recently, even some things that have happened since it had been written are coming to light. It's kind of eerie to read because a lot of it is things that you wouldn't just call. You know, it's not things that you would ever guess in a million years. And this thawing between us, supposed thawing between us and North Korea was part of it. Very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff. At first, when I was in the first couple of chapters, I didn't know if I'd like the book. Or the series, but I tell you what, I'm really, really, really enjoying it. Things are kind of starting to make sense. Things that seemed off in the beginning of it, be like, no, not from what I understand. It wouldn't go like this or that. But as the book goes on, it goes into explaining why things weren't necessarily accurate to my knowledge, I'll say. Because like it deals, of course, with EMP, and my understanding, my knowledge of EMP is if one of the more sophisticated countries like Russia or China or something like that would detonate a large EMP, it would wipe out pretty much everything as far as our electronics. And in this book, not quite everything was wiped out, and I found that real interesting. Well, it went on later on to explain, that what was used was definitely a lower yield type of EMP. So anyway, I'm not going to get going down that road, but good book. Let's see. U.S. reportedly reinforces base in eastern Syria amid looming Idlib offensive. Staged gas attacks and U.S. shortcomings. U.S. Senator tells Sputnik about Syria. Let's see, about Syria trip. I know. I don't think everything is. Oh yeah, when he went to Syria. Never mind. He is warning about a staged chemical attack. The senator. That's what's strange. It's Virginia Senator Richard Black. So keep an eye out for that name. See if he comes up floating up a river or something like that. Definitely put that in the back of your mind. Iran investing abroad to get medicines, tech, U.S. sanctions hope to block. And let's these are why I say we've got to fix this. High-ranking SWAT leader arrested for trying to lure a child into his car. Howell Police Sergeant Richard Conte, the head of Monmouth County's emergency response team, was arrested on Friday and charged with attempting to lure a child into a motor vehicle. The veteran cop, in a supervisory position, has since been suspended without pay. Conte was busted on Thursday in a statewide sting operation set up to catch child predators. This pillar of the community and protector of the innocent, whose base salary tops $140,000, was caught attempting to lure who he thought was a young female child into his car. On Friday, Conte, 47, was locked up and charged with second-degree attempting, luring, or enticing of a child and is being held in the Ocean County Jail in Toms River. Prior to the arrest, I was made aware of the situation, Howell Police Chief Andrew J. Kudrick, Jr. said in a statement Friday. It sickened me to learn that one of my officers, a highly competent supervisor nonetheless, and one that I have worked alongside for many years on the SWAT team, not only defied my trust, but fellow officers as well, but most importantly, defied the public's trust and expectations of a police officer. As such, I fully supported the investigation and provided input to ensure his apprehension. You know what that's called? It's called saving face. Okay? Called saving face. Follow this story. Watch where this goes. Watch how little bitty bit of punishment this guy gets. Right? I can assure you, it'll be moot. It'll be nothing. Right? Might not even see any prison time. Might just be probation. Because that's what they do for their buddies. But they'll come out against it, right? Who wouldn't? Yeah, people get so hung up on words today. You can't do that. Well, Trump said he was going to lock her up. Well, Trump fucking lied. No. No. Time to wake up. Ding, ding, ding. After Kudrick expressed his disappointment in his fellow officer, He then went on to chastise New Jersey 101.5 for reporting on the officers' misdeeds without first consulting with me or others directly connected to the investigation. You hear that? And you don't believe that they were trying to save face? However, according to NJ 101.5, they reached out to the department, who chose not to respond. What's more, arrest records and mugshots are a matter of public record, and individuals and news organizations most assuredly do not need the permission of the police to report on them. Not supposed to report it, right? And as you recall, when I was throwing a fit about the Granite City Police Department here in Illinois and their promotion of sexually posed high school girls, okay, for one of their dumbass sink challenges, okay, they didn't want to talk either. And they chastised the media for bringing it to light, right? But let's wave our flag. Let's admonish people that are out there trying to raise awareness to this. Ridiculous. Any attempt to keep this information from the public, no matter how damning to the department's image, should be seen as a slap in the face to those who advocate for transparency. According to the Howell Police Department, they are now conducting their own investigation into Conte to determine if he may have been carrying out his sick desires while on duty. And, as his records show, this officer has had decades to do so. According to Patch.com, Conte began his law enforcement career in 1991 as a special officer with the Seagirt Police Department. In 1992, he graduated from the Monmouth County Police Academy as a special officer 2 in the Manasquan Police Department, and in 1994 went to the Little Silver Police Department. In 1995, he joined the Monmouth University Police Department and worked there until joining Howell in 1997. In 2004, he was assigned and excelled as a detective responsible for evidence and identification. Conte has been the commander of the Monmouth County Emergency Response Team since 2009. As NJ.com reports, part of that investigation includes pulling cell phone and computer records, GPS activity on his patrol vehicle, and Department of Motor Vehicle access, according to Kurdick. Hopefully, there are not a slew of victims in his wake, but if there are, they are encouraged to come forward. It is standard protocol for police departments whose officers get ensnared in sickening criminal cases. The chief assured the community that Kudrick was the only bad cop on the force. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think that the chief knew that this sleazeball was committing these heinous acts? I certainly would hope you would say, well, no. How would he know? Unless he was involved in it. So, hey, moron Kudrick, how can you say he's the only bad cop on the force? See those words that are so easily thrown out there? When it's just nothing but a steaming pile of bullshit? I offer my sincere apology to the community that we value and respect so deeply, Kudrick said. Our department's reputation has been tarnished. I ask you not to judge us on the actions of one, but rather on the outstanding service the remaining loyal officers provide with professionalism and pride every single day. Blah, blah, blah. I feel like diarrhea is coming out of my mouth just reading the quote. Well, that's what I've got for the news. I mean, the rest of our live show will continue. That's what I've got for the monologue. I don't know what to tell people. And here I said weeks ago that I was no longer going to be holding people's hands trying to help them figure it out. And I'm not. I'm not. But when we have things go on like we've had go on over the past week, you have to step back a little bit and re-explain. We can fix this, but we can't fix this if we ignore it. Not possible. Not possible. We can't fix this if we shoot down the ones that's got the balls to stand up. Absolutely insane. Anyway, those that watch the live show, stick around. We're going to be going to that. Those that just watch the monologue, thank you. And as always, God bless you. We love you and be one with your spirit. Let's make this a better world, folks. But we have to get active to do it. Not just voting, not just chanting slogans and waving flags. Okay? Not just saying things. Not just posting memes. Not just jerking off in a bucket. Okay? We've got to do something meaningful. And that means that you're probably going to have to do things that other people don't like. And they might cry. They might throw a fit and they might burn their shoes. But fuck them. Alrighty. Let me go ahead and go right into We Are Change here, because there was a lot of what we talked about in the monologue here. We Are Change has a video titled "Everything You Need to Know About the Conflict in DLive."
The first thing that I wanted to talk about is all of these week's events that I think are cultivating into what really looks like total war and destruction. It's getting very serious and it's ramping up. And from everything I'm looking at my analysis, these week's events crescendo to a very, very, very bad path that the United States is on. I mean, one of the first articles that I have here is, of course, the story that broke this week of the anonymous op-ed that was written in the New York Times with allegedly a member of Trump's administration. And what's really interesting about this story, this anonymous resistance member within Trump's administration calls Trump out for lowering tensions between North Korea and Russia, and talks about how there's a group of people trying to steer Donald Trump towards a more Republican course. And of course, if you look at the Republican course under George W. Bush, it was all-out war and destruction, which of course was continued by Barack Obama. And Donald Trump is following suit, whether he's being coerced into doing it or whether he's doing it independently. But that was a major story that broke that showed that there is an inner bias within the White House that is pushing for more conflict within Russia. Also this week, we saw Alex Jones permanently deplatformed, not only from Twitter, but also the Apple store that banned his very popular app that grossed to #3, but was totally deleted and eviscerated by Apple. All of this, of course, happened with collusion from the mainstream media, as we saw the mainstream media tweeting out the same moment that Twitter decided that Alex Jones is permanently banned from using Twitter along with InfoWars. We also saw Paul Joseph Watson suspended for 12 hours, Twitter looking into his activity, trying to find a reason to take him down. Again, very selective enforcement, but shows clear collusion that happened between CNN, especially Oliver Darcy, and Twitter, who gave them foreknowledge and cooperated together to bring down Alex Jones from the social media platforms and deplatforming him totally from the major technocratic monopolies that control national discourse. And of course, this was celebrated by many people on the left, but what they're ultimately celebrating is war. If you look at the strings that social media is attached to, especially the government surveillance programs, you see that the government and social media tech monopolies, Twitter, Facebook, Google, all go hand, cooperate together, and not only spy on the American people, share your social media data with spy agencies all throughout the world. But even as Edward Snowden put it, Facebook is a surveillance company rebranded as social media. And we have seen Facebook time and time again counter and attack people, including people like PragerU, including people who are anti-war, anti-establishment, doesn't matter if you're on the left, it doesn't matter on your right, and hurt their actual organization by limiting their reach. So it's not only total censorship that we are seeing, but we're also seeing just shadow banning, soft censorship, and reach of people who are going against mainly the military-industrial complex being completely shut down. And that's why Free Thought Project, Anti-Media, their news organizations are doing worse than ever, and they had to fire recently a lot of their staff members. All the voices calling for resistance or calling for peace, calling for not war, are pretty much being shut down in one way or another. And this all cultivated and shows you how the military-industrial complex ties are directly in this, because not only the big social media giants, the mainstream media, and the government all collude together, but this all cultivated with just recently YouTube shutting down all Syrian state channels. This is as a big major turning point is happening inside of Syria, inside the assault of Idlib, which of course we're hearing many contradicting views from. But YouTube shutting down and terminating this is the Syrian state YouTube channel is really, really selective enforcement. Them shutting down Alex Jones, them cutting the reach of all the anti-war people. This to me is not happening on accident. This to me is a campaign that is happening right now that is leading to a very disastrous end.